We are live already. Good morning, everybody. It is July 20th, 2024. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show. We're setting up our guests here. And of course, we're socializing and doing all that stuff. I'm Harvey Freed, of course, and right to the right of me is the wonderful Becky Alley.
What is going on? You know it's going to be a good show when you don't even realize that you're on live
right,
in
like,
the moment.
You guys are on.
We're just like setting up, having conversations, freaking eating monkey bread. It's all good.
Yeah, Juliet, I don't even know what you brought in, but you got something gooey, some bread. It's still warm. We're going to be eating that.
It's got monkeys in it.
All right, good enough.
Monkeys in every bite.
All right, we're going to talk mortgages and real estate, always on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show as we set up our guest here. Thank you, guys. We're just doing a great job. I'll introduce you first. Marcy Soufrine, of course, Marcy, 5-star real estate.
That's me, Marcy Soufrine.
Marcy Soufrine, okay. Do I got to say that? Friend?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Marcy
like
Soufrine.
we're freed.
Good. We got that.
That's fair.
Like your last name.
Yeah.
Juliet Jozwick. Max Broock. How you doing?
True story. 26 years in the business. Delighted to be here today,
Oh, my
Harvey.
God. Juliet's my neighbor. Okay, we've done some business over the years. All we do is usually laugh, joke, and say crazy stuff to each other.
Yes.
But today, Juliet, we're just going to give 1 hour of mortgage and real estate. We'll keep it really straight here.
Juliet doesn't know how to be straight.
I do not know how to be straight.
Marcy, you were up north, so thank you for accepting to come on the show, and I know you were up north all week. You guys have this cool camper, and even though I wrote that into the show today talking about vacation homes, it seems as if everyone who goes up north, as they're coming home down 75, they all say that my phone's ringing off the hook. Harvey, I'm buying a place up here. I need to be pre-approved. I'm making an offer.
I know. Everybody loves up north. I mean, it's beautiful. It's awesome. We got to swim on 3 of the Great Lakes. We were Huron, Superior, and what's the other one? Not Ontario and not...
You were in Lake Michigan.
Yes, Lake Michigan.
You had 3 of them.
Yeah.
Lake Michigan's my favorite.
Yeah.
Because you get beautiful sunsets. It's just, I mean...
gorgeous. The most gorgeous sunsets. We went camping. We have an RV.
Why were you talking about buying a place then if you guys do the RV thing?
Well, we also... We go with our sister-in-law and brother-in-law. They follow us in their RV, and everybody's looking for that family cabin, that we can all go in on together. So the whole way there, everybody's on the walkie-talkie,
How about this one? This one sounds great. They got the little real estate
Marcy,
books out and
what's
stuff.
this house? It's a waterfront. It's a lakefront. You got how much? How much? Vacant land. How much can we build on this land for? Why is it so cheap? But there's a lot of opportunity up there, and I'd love to do it. I think it would be cool to have a house up north. But then you got to think about, do you want to live on big water? I'm a little water person.
Right.
Big water is a whole nother thing. Now we got to get a boat for big water, got to get the big break wall, all that stuff. I'm like, why are these houses so cheap? Are they about to fall into the lake?
Mm-hmm. I mean, some of them on Lake Michigan by the Silver Lake sand dunes, those do look like they're about to fall off into the deep abyss.
Totally. I actually have a friend who has a house on the Silver Lake sand dunes, and she did have to put a lot of money into building a seawall because it was about to fall in.
So I like our conversation just starting to roll into some. Now we're talking about vacation homes, but you better do your due diligence because you don't know what you're really getting into until you start doing well in septic reports. You're going to run into that up north. And there is some stability or some construction infrastructure situations. Again, some of these homes were built 40, 50, 70, 80 years ago.
Right.
Well, then it's like access, like front, you can see the lake, but do you have a slip? There's just a lot going on. Like my friends, they own a house in Higgins Lake, and it's beautiful, right? And there was like a house that was like someone bought it out of state. They completely flipped it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm looking at that house, and it's obviously sold like so fast, but it was like, you didn't get like access with that property, right? But you're paying over $600,000 for this beautifully renovated home that you don't even have access to the lake, right? So I was like, and I'm justifying, I'm like, okay, well, my friend's across the street, and then I could, we could have that same access, but it's Higgins, like it's a beautiful lake, right? That is like all the things. It's like being on the Caribbean, like Torch Lake, but different, but with like Michigan, it's beautiful to look at. I don't know if I'd want to be sailing on Lake Michigan because it gets really choppy, but I'd rather just look at it. But like Higgins, I want to be on the lake.
Well, that's a bigger inland lake, right? You got Higgins and Houghton Lake, and of course all our Great Lakes here. And then Marcy and I we have boats on Sylvan. You live on Sylvan Otter.
Yep.
I'm on Cass with Juliet.
Yep.
So yeah, we get to explore all this. My great friend John Slazinski, we do have our 40-year reunion tonight. John invited me out to Lake St. Clair yesterday. We just, boating's in our blood here in Michigan. So just a salute out there. And again, always be safe on the waterways. But so much fun if you're thinking about buying a vacation home. And I like how you brought it up, Marcy. You guys have 2 campers, 2 families, But really the conversation always leads back to maybe we should pool our assets together and buy a great family home that we can all use. And then, Juliet, we run into this all the time because families like yours, of course, 2 boys at home running around. A lot of you guys now, you don't go to the hotel anymore. You're doing the Airbnb thing, the VRBO. So a lot of families end up doing that. So it becomes also it's a family vacation home, but then it's also either a short-term rental or maybe even a long-term rental.
Yeah, my parents actually had a place on Torch Lake for 30 years. And
that's right.
Yeah, they sold it and
Fiddlesticks.
In Alden, just a delightful place. But they're in their 80s and it's a 100-year-old home, and the new owners turned it into an Airbnb. I think my route would go to just hit all the Airbnbs because there's so much to explore in Upper Michigan, Northern Michigan.
Yeah.
And anywhere for that matter. I mean,
Yes.
you could take your, whatever. You can buy up a vacation home in Miami. You could buy one in Texas. Across the Carolinas are getting popular. We have special programs at Capital Mortgage Funding, and we're going to take your calls all morning long. 248-539-9797. Becky, one of our special programs is our private secured label program, which is truly a great opportunity for families to buy a house without paying all those discount points. Our interest rate's very close to buying, just as if it was your primary residence.
Yeah, it's specifically for people that are buying investment properties or second homes. And it kind of takes the interest rate back to how it was before they hit all these, it's called loan level pricing adjustments, right? That's what's on our side of the pricing sheet where, before you used to buy a second home, you had to put 10% down and the interest rate mirrored that of a primary home. Well, during COVID, the higher ups beyond my power, right? They caught on to that. And then the interest rates on second homes started to mirror that of investment properties. So CMG, who are backed by with Capital Mortgage Funding, they recognized that hole in that market where it was almost a disservice for people that were trying to buy second homes, especially here in Michigan, where it's almost like a lifeline, where it's like Michigan to Florida and, Detroit area up to up north. So with these interest rates, they are right there. They're better than investment properties. You can still put the 10% down in these situations. So it's better if you put 20 in most of the cases, but give us a call because if, a lot of investors especially are really taking advantage of the fact that if they're going somewhere else, they might be getting rates in the 8s and we're going to be low 7s in that scenario. It's going to be, it's a much better situation for a lot of people.
Well,
Right.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I'll definitely keep that in
People
mind,
think
Becky,
that they're
'cause it does get expensive. You want to buy a vacation property, like you said, Harvey. You got to pool. Some people might have to pool the money from their family and put it all together and share.
Well, just to mention too, if you're going to rent it, you got to look at that cash flow.
Yeah.
And we had a tax assessor on last week. We're talking about how when people are like, I'm going to be an investor, I'm going to buy all this real estate and do all the things, right? But they're not realizing that once these taxes become non-homestead, and then you're at this
Right.
little bit of a higher interest rate. Well, now you have to charge a little bit more to get that cash flow. And unfortunately, people don't have that plan in place when they're wanting to, build their real estate portfolio. So, at Capital Mortgage Funding, we're here to be objective. We're going to tell you what our professional opinion is and how we're going to get you from A to Z and, how you're going to acquire 10 properties in 6 months if that's your goal, really ambitious. But at the same time, how are you going to cash flow that, right? How are you going to maximize what you're doing to then take that money and buy another house and another house and another house. So you have to have a plan in place. The idea is great, but when you don't have that plan, it's just a dream sometimes.
I actually wrote it down here. I wrote, if you're the idea of investing in rental properties, exploring the idea. I wrote exploring because I think there is a lot of conversation that needs to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Your family members, right? Things can get real ugly real quick, Julia. We know that for sure, right? Wait a minute here. Now I want to bring my friends up,
Right.
and they're bringing their parents up, and hey, we're using it that weekend. I mean, just even that alone. But if you do things the right way, you can make some money. And again, a lot of families are turning these into short-term rentals. So when they're not using the property, and again, maybe they only like the summertime up there, they can use the snowmobile people. They go up there, they use them. So yeah,
I
again,
love up
long
north
term.
during the winter though. Like
Oh, yeah,
honestly,
you're a junkie. You're the-
I like to snowboard, but
Yeah.
there is something about being up north when it is just so
Covered in
still.
snow.
It's just still.
80% of the population in Michigan lives below Clare. So yes, if you want some peace and quiet, head north of Clare, and you are in business to get the respite that you need.
Yeah, it's just I love it. I love it no matter what. But there is a lot of families buying together, more so because, in other cultures, they've been doing that for years. And in America, we just, didn't do that for whatever the reason was. But there is, you can buy $1 million property and, have 2-3 of your family members in there. And now you have this, this legacy that you're building out with your family, but it is important
totally.
that you kind of keep that good vibes happening with everybody, because it's like you got to have your calendar and who's going to be there when. But that is a way to go, because you can get a lot more property with just yourself.
Right. And I think it's great when you're doing it with family. But I will say I've had a lot of buyers, and recent sellers who bought that lake property without having a plan, just kind of thinking, we'll just use it as our summer place, and then Airbnb it the rest of the time. And then they kind of found that, you can't Airbnb everything and actually make up that non-homestead tax rate and that higher interest rate. So I definitely think having a plan, going in on something and knowing, like, either we're going to long-term rent this or we're going to short-term rent this.
Exactly.
And this is how much we have to get, and this is how much we need it to be rented. Because, it's tough to use it and rent it.
All right. Properties in tourist-friendly locations or near major attractions, they tend to be occupied a little bit more. When we come back, we'll talk all about buying your rental and investment property and your primary residence. Keep it here, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All righty, welcome back to the show, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by CMG Home Loans, NMLS 1820, Equal Housing Lender. Taking all your calls all morning long, 248-539-9797. I'm Harvey Freed. This is Becky Alley to my right, top 1% of all originators in the country. She knows a lot about mortgages. And these ladies are fantastic. Marcy and Juliet, of course, they work at different real estate. But Marcy's over at 5-Star Realty, and Max Broock, the Long Lake Telegraph office, of
Bloomfield.
course. Guys are huge. Huge. How many agents is at that 5-star? That's becoming a well-known office. I keep running into people. I'm at 5-star.
5-star is actually the number 2 independent real estate company in Michigan.
Okay.
With I think somewhere around 1,600 agents.
Oh wow! I didn't even.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. But this is like an example of how collaboration happens at the highest level, right? You have 2 agents, not even the same office. You guys vibe, you guys connect professionally, and that's really what matters, right? Because ultimately, like, there's always competition, right? If you're going after the same listing, right? But where that collaboration comes across is like, dang, when I see Marcy on that listing, like, I'm accepting this offer because I know she's going to be an amazing, asset to get us through the transaction. So
100%. She knows I'm going to stalk her if she doesn't give me the, if she doesn't sell me her listing.
Yeah.
And I know that Marcy's going to counsel her client and say, this is what you need to anticipate. This is what could go wrong.
Yep.
And we're going to be in this together until we're at the closing table. Too many agents don't prepare their clients for either a messy inspection report, just ups and downs along the way. And I know that, Marcy, you absolutely stick with your client the whole way.
I like that. Yeah. Let's go there, guys. We'll go back to the investing and buying a rental property and all that stuff after. But how do you prepare your clients for that? Sometimes I think you can look at a home and go, oh, this inspection is going to be in breeze, and all of a sudden something huge comes up, and you're like, oh no.
Right.
So that's really emotional.
Here's what I love to say: is money fixes everything.
It does.
There is truly no problem that can't be fixed with money. Now, I mean, if you got structural
but
issues,
you got people buying houses with sunshine and rainbows, right? So there's those
that's
situations.
a little bit of an issue, right? Back to that generational living. Got to bring mom and dad back home
fold.
with you. Or maybe grandma and grandpa too, which is, it's a trend. It's happening. I just read an article that there's a lot of 50-somes who have been the bank of mom and dad for years and years, and now their plan is their kids are going to have to fund them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they haven't told their kids yet.
Yeah. When my buyers are looking at a property and they see a full basement with a kitchenette, ding, 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 they go, let's go for it. Because, kids aren't leaving the house.
Right.
They might graduate high school and they might go into a trade school, or they'll go to a local university, and they want their freedom. So they want to stay in the basement. They want to come and go as they please. And also,
can't
aging
tell you
parents.
how hot basements are these days.
Seriously.
People love a finished basement. It doesn't even have to be a walkout. People just want that basement because they want a place to throw their kids or their parents,
also
I guess, in this situation.
It's a big ticket item, right? It's a big ticket item to finish yourself. And when you sell it, you're not really going to get that return for it. But to make it what you want it's expensive. Like, I have a very nicely done finished basement, and but I know that if I were to ever sell that, like, I'm not going to get what I put into that for sure. And I'm cool
Great
with
point.
that, right?
Great
But
point.
it's cost of living, right? You don't put a price on when you're living in that property. There is no price on that because you're enjoying your home, right? But you
Exactly.
can't. So you have to be very cognizant of, am I doing this to enjoy my home, or am I doing this to get return?
100%. That's something that Juliet and I have been talking a lot about, is like, which home improvements are actually going to pay off. And there's certain things, like, personally, I have a tiki bar in my backyard. And I took that tiki bar from a house that could no longer have that tiki bar. One of my agent friends had sold the house, and they found out it was non-conforming or something like that, and the tiki bar had to go.
We don't care in Waterford.
Right. I think this was Wolverine Lake. That tiki bar had to go.
Well,
So yeah, I
stuck up.
schlepped that thing to Waterford.
Yeah.
But and paid people to bring it there, and then I erected this roof line off of my garage so I could
How
have
come
this
I don't get invited to the
shaded.
drink-a-thon?
Oh, you just
there?
walk over.
Come on
you
down
walk
the
over
street,
and
Harvey.
walk
I think
on.
I'm about 10 houses down from you.
I think you are, yeah.
Anyhow, but I didn't do that thinking like I'm going to dollar
Man,
for
this
dollar.
tiki bar is going to just tip the scales on value.
Exactly. But I think that people do think that, like, every dollar they spend on their home, they're going to get out, and that's just not. That's just not the facts.
Sellers say, hey, should I fix up my kitchen before I sell it? I say, fix up your kitchen now, because you aren't going to get 100% return on that investment. So enjoy it. But kitchens and bathrooms and master bedrooms are still the number one things that you should have updated before you sell. But enjoy that updates. I mean,
Right. Just in case you're not going to get your money out.
Absolutely.
Because maybe you won't.
Yeah, because then you're going to be upset. You're like, oh my gosh, I just put it in you're going to fix this kitchen. And you'd be like, maybe we should stay.
I think
Right.
that's happened.
Right. In fact, that's why I tell my sellers, don't do it.
You're going to want to stay now. You're not going to want to go anywhere.
Right. They might not.
Yeah.
You never know.
That's so true.
So we want to talk a little bit about how we get a house to market, what we tell our sellers to do to their home that is going to get the highest price for them.
These are tough conversations. I mean, I feel like some of the agents don't want to have this tough conversation saying, look, we got to clean this up. We need to make this place fresh and look really,
you gotta
really
be okay
good.
with not hurting someone's feelings, but just having be like, look, that tumbleweed you walk past 75 times, I see it. I know you see it if I see it. We got to get that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Curb appeal is huge. Get those old shrubs, if they are overgrown, get them removed. Plant new boxwoods. Hire somebody. If you can't do that spring cleanup, absolutely get your lawn fertilized. Get that curb appeal going.
Replace the mailbox. Gone. Get those cobwebs out of the light fixtures.
Yes.
You know, you got
bugs
all around that light at your front door.
Right.
You know, I feel like
it's the little things that you look past when you're just like blazing in and out. And it's
100%.
No one's doing it intentionally, right? Because life happens, right? You're just literally, you give yourself just enough time to get from one place to another. And if you have little children, they got 47 sports, you got to sling in and out of the driveway. And then you're like, oh man, I meant to get that light fixture. And then here you are selling it. And you guys are like, nope. Wrong, expired, get that out of here.
100%.
Which brings us on the way here, again, Marcy and I are neighbors along with Harvey. We were talking about how many of your clients do you suggest when they put the house on the market to have an inspection done before they put the house on the market?
The old seller inspection, right. I'm going to sell my house, right.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's an awesome idea because I think it allows sellers the opportunity to see if they have a problem that maybe they can rectify, or it puts them in the driver's seat to say, you know, the house needs new windows, but they're fine for the next however many years.
Absolutely.
You know, and maybe here's a seller credit, or we're not going to do it. You know, hey, yeah, we know it needs new windows, and that's why it's priced where it's priced.
How did they sell homes in the 70s? Like everyone smoked. I mean, I remember people smoking in their homes.
Well, that was
and
the
it,
thing
like,
is everyone
stunk.
smoked, so nobody cared.
Oh, they
What you
smelled it.
guys
You're
are
right.
talking about, though, too, is it's next level. Okay, and where it's next level, it's because you're able to control the offers that you're going to get. If you have your seller putting on the market with their eyeballs open, knowing that someone is going to come in, a high-level buyer's agent is going to come in and point out all these things.
100%.
We know the answers to the test, so let's put ourselves in a lateral position to get the most money.
100%.
And that's why you guys are as successful as you are, because that's where you're seeing, you have to kind of, you can't be all rosy and sunshine. You have to be realistic sometimes to get top dollar. Even though it's still a seller's market, you can still do these little things that are going to not leave money on the table.
Right. You got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest about what you got going on. I mean, most people know, you know, I haven't done the roof in 20 years. You pretty much know if you haven't done the roof in 20 years, you know, but there's certain things. I mean, maybe your furnace is only 12 years old, but maybe it's going.
Right.
You know, maybe you got a problem. Maybe you got a carbon monoxide leak, God forbid. But if you do, I mean, great to let's get that addressed. Let's get it fixed. And then we'll get it on the market so that, you know, and the mold. Oh my God, that filthy 4-letter word mold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad
People
one.
are so scared of it, and there's so much that can be done. It's such a, you know, definitely can be fixed.
Yeah, it's
Again,
not always the poisonous mold. It just is the mold that needs to be cleaned up and then prevented. You could put some stuff
but that
down in
scares
it.
the crap out of a
let's
buyer.
Speaking of that, so I had like a moment in my own house where my laundry room flooded recently, and it went into my beautiful basement. And so I was home,
boy.
and I was able
Finished
to,
basement.
yes, I was able to minimize the damage on that. But my laundry room, forget about it. Right after totally have that redone, but because I know what's happening, I was like, okay, let's get this, like immediately, like I was fixing it, doing things and taking all the steps, because people forget about it and they're like, oh, it's not that bad, but it's what you can't see sometimes. And, you know, and because I take a lot of pride in my home, but it was unfortunate, and thank gosh I was there to kind of take control of the situation. And I know a lot of amazing people in our industry that was able to like save it and, you know, do what that we can. But things happen when you know, there's more to home ownership than just, you know, getting your down payment and making the payments. You have to be prepared for something like that. You have to be prepared for things that go wrong after you drive that car off the lot. And that's why
100%.
getting that team of professionals around you is key, because you need to make sure that you have a plan in place that you can afford your home or the second home with the taxes that are now $12,000.
Right.
But
For
yeah, like
sure.
I have good people and it's done, but like, but now I have to make a couple little fixes, but you know, but that was all, because that's all I could think about was what if there's something happening behind the scenes. But thank God nothing was, you know, I you know, addressed it, but But whether you're buying a conventional or an FHA loan, anytime you see mold or something of that nature, it's going to get flagged.
Right.
So I had an agent, they're like, oh, well, it's a conventional loan. I can't believe this is being flagged. No, this is health and safety, and it's at the appraiser's discretion. And a lot of times, even if the appraiser just takes a photo of it and they don't really make mention of it, they can say an as-is appraisal. We as the lender have a fiduciary duty to make sure that we are the majority investor of your property, and we have to make sure that your house has integrity.
Sure.
And if there's
it's
any
safe
kind
for you
of
to live in.
Yeah, if there's anything that looks like it's mold, it's gonna have to be fixed, whether it's FHA or conventional.
248-539-9797. We're up against our second break. With you till 10 o'clock, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. When we come back, we'll dive in a little bit of the trends out there, the colors, the walkable cities, all the fun stuff. Is the location still important? You betcha. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back. 929. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Thanks for everyone out there listening. And again, I want to give a quick salute out to any of the out-of-towners who came in for our high school reunion. That's right. Southville Lathrop, class of 1984. We're celebrating tonight our 40-year reunion. I throw it out there in case I run into anyone who's actually listening and says, hey, Harvey, we heard you this morning. Go Chargers to any of the Lathrop people out there. Our high school doesn't exist, but the pride and joy is still there.
They're all coming. They're all listening, and they're all coming to the
Juliet,
reunion.
I always make fun because I can't say what high school you went to. It's that city of Chesaning.
Chesaning.
Yeah, everyone knows Chesaning
We're the
up there.
Indians.
Now, do I hit that on the way to Frankenmuth, or where are you in conjunction to that?
Yeah, I think I'm south of it. I don't know. I love my little town so much, and it's crazy how many people have moved to Southeast Michigan, and I've enticed several people to move to a lake from Chesaning. It's really fantastic.
Well, it's funny. The people down here want to move up there, and the few folks up there want to move down here. I don't know what's going on.
Change of scenery is good.
Bring
Talk
in
about
Chesaning to Oakland County.
Yes.
Yeah, Oakland County is wonderful.
One family at a time.
Yes.
And that goes for all the counties around here. You talk about everything in Southeast Michigan. You got Jackson, St. Clair County, Macomb, Washington. I mean, there's so many great areas here. Livingston. What trends are popping up where you guys can say? I know, it was the beiges when I built a couple houses in the early 2000s. Everything was beiged out,
right.
Looking like French country. Now it seems like a little bit more modern with the grays and stuff. What other trends are you seeing out there?
Well, it's interesting. The grays have certainly had their heyday, and now they're kind of petering out a little bit. And we are going to some warmer colors. I've always asked this question: are you going to do a white kitchen when people do a renovation? Are you going to do the white cabinets? I think white cabinets are still the way to go, but they liked an alternating color on the island, or they like to do a butcher black. But the warmer wood tones are good.
Yeah, it's a lot of like warm whites and blonde floors. I feel like the lighter floors, like that's so like I'm grays upstairs, but then I'm white and blonde floors downstairs.
Yes.
And to kind of get best of both worlds because you can never keep up with the trends, and then they're like an accent wall is really strong right now, whereas like that was strong in the early 2000s, right? That one red wall.
Oh, we had the reds, yeah. We had the whole red.
Oh yeah,
It was like
I had the red dining
yeah.
room of pain.
I still
It
got
was
one.
painful
That
'cause of my
house on
food.
Otter still get that red room. I'll show you that later.
Oh, I can't wait,
You
Harvey.
guys got a couple listings. Marcy, go with your listing
Yeah, I
first
got a-
because it's in the hood.
I got a great Cass Lake Canal front. It is at 559. Everything has been redone. It's 3 bedrooms, 3 full baths. It has a basement, believe it or not. A
It's
lot
that
of these
modern
lake houses-
farmhouse. That
It
modern
is a
farmhouse.
modern
It's
farmhouse.
How many square feet is
fantastic.
that?
It's a little above 1,800. It's kind of a small house, but very well
Laid out.
situated. Got a real nice mudroom, a 2+ car garage. I mean, it's a fantastic listing, and
Can we say
love
the
to
price?
show
Are
it
we allowed
to
to
you.
say the price with all the new rules? Are we allowed to say what that's priced at? Just to give-
we're allowed to say prices.
Okay, go
just
ahead.
not what
Compensation.
we're paying out. Yeah, it's $559,000.
All right, if you want to get on the water,
Is it a ranch or is it a like?
It
what
is a
it?
2-story.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. There is a bedroom on the first floor and a full bath on the first floor, so you can come in off the lake and shower off or have your guests. And then there's 2 bedrooms upstairs.
That brings me to a good point. It's location's always the number one rule in real estate. Location, location, location. We've all heard that joke, right?
Right.
And then people say, well, I have to have X amount of square feet. The other thing that you should really consider is layout. I mean, you can have a many, many small cut up rooms that just destroy the feeling of the house. Even though it's big, it's cut up.
Totally. Open floor plans, I think, are still a trend.
Yes.
For sure. So anything you can do to open up your space, I think people really, they like that. Because I
Or
think
the first floor masters, right?
for sure.
Oh, yes. With the
Everybody's-
aging population.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you think about where do you hang out when you're home? Everybody hangs out in that kitchen,
the
living
kitchen.
room area. Everybody wants to be near the food and
Right.
the TV, right? Like, so
that's all you need. An open kitchen with the living room attached, and that's really all you need. Everyone's going to be right there. The big screen's over there.
right. And a
you're
place for
watching-
everybody to put their butt. That's one thing my mom loves to say. And I
I'm a
love
freak
to think
about
about.
seating too. Like I'm a freak. I'm like where they're going to sit. Like I just visualize like the flow of like where people are going to like park their tushes and
Exactly.
seating is everything. Some people like don't even think about stuff like that, but my mind goes there.
Has to be
Marcy,
cushioned, has to swivel. Has to be cushioned, has to swivel, right?
I have a tough question for you on that one, though, Marcy. Your folks, where are they moving to? Like, where are people moving to?
Well, this house was an investment property.
okay.
So, but where people, a lot of my
More of a
sellers
flip? Is it a
lately,
flip?
yes.
Okay.
A lot of my sellers lately, though, are moving up north. Like we were talking about at the top of the show. Like I have so many clients, aging clients, senior clients who they already have their up north property and they are just done. They're selling, they're going up there, and that's that.
Juliet, we had one down the block actually, and I think it was purchased for like $425, $429. We thought it was a lot about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. On the market for about $100,000 more, $529. If you want to get on the water, it's close to $500,000 almost anywhere in Southeast Michigan.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about lake living. That house I actually toured a client through, and they were. I remember they were flexing on the floor a little bit, like kind of feeling the give
like
on the
it
floor, and it's
had
like
some gaps in the luxury vinyl.
Well, I think that if you have an older home, that there is a little, especially living on a lake with a high water table, you just have to deal with just
some weird
some
things.
things. I mean, you just lake living has its ups, obviously, but it also has its downs. You have smaller bedrooms, you have smaller lots.
Right, while you're
is
dealing with
sometimes an
old
issue.
homes, and back in the day, people didn't need like the walk-in closet.
Right.
You know, they had like I don't know. They must have had like 5 different outfits. Maybe they didn't.
right.
Maybe 2 pair of shoes or something
It's
like
so
that.
funny, right? It's really
Right.
small closets back then. That's right. You only had 2 or 3. We're going to walk around here. They have some old pictures. People had 2 or 3.
Right, one
changes of
bathroom
clothing.
for 18 kids. I don't know how they did it. If
so
people
speaking
were
of
just on a
that-
schedule or.
My dad always says, because I grew up in a bungalow, right? And in one bathroom, there were 6 of us. My dad always says, he's like, when it's my time to go, on my headstone, I want you to say, love is 6 people in one bathroom.
Right.
Because that's true. We had to rotate. Someone was in the shower, someone started to brush their teeth, and then you switch and you switch and you switch just
Right.
to go somewhere. And then, our generation, now we're out in our own, and we're like, there's a toilet for every butt.
Yes.
Because it was so, we're like, I'm never going to do that again. So I'm going
Right.
to change it. But it was also like, it made it, looking back on it, it made it entertaining. It made it fun, good memories and all that stuff. And now you have bathrooms that people don't even look at.
Yeah, it's too many of them.
100%.
Like, I need a bathroom for
Home
every
ownership
floor.
is the way to go. Hey, I want to talk about one of the transactions I got going. So I met a family. Actually, the mother had called me from the radio show. She had listened in and said, hey, Harvey reached out to me and her kids wanted to get a house. So they did the home inspection and the seller knew the house is on the older side and the furnace is like probably 30, 40 years old. And sure enough, I mean, I can't believe this seller, one of the nicest guys, I won't say Kirk's last name. He said, hey, Harvey, after the inspection, they recognized they don't want the furnace to go out. Becky, it's a Mishta loan. Clients are getting the $10,000 down payment assistance. They don't have a lot of extra money to fix up the house. Ran into a seller. We increased the price of the house. Again, nothing was put in stone yet. We were negotiating. We increased the price of the house about $4,500, and now they're getting a brand new furnace in their first house. It's just so awesome. If you can step back and truly work with sellers and buyers and make it a win-win for all parties, that's the key to home ownership.
But what you're also talking about, though, is also high-level lending. Because, concessions used to be a part of every transaction in the early 2000s. It wasn't even a thing. And then they went away because someone's like, oh my God, concessions will never accept your offer.
Coming back.
Well, they're back with a vengeance because, not only do we have like the, changes with, real estate on that kind of side, but, there are houses on the market right now that need some work, and you have to find a way to pivot so the deal doesn't perish to make sure that both sides are winning. It's important for everybody. And a lot of these sellers are selling their house, but it's contingent on another house and another house. So you have to be able to be flexible in that situation. So that way everyone can get in and out of their respective homes.
I have a situation where my clients found a piece of land. A house sits on 5 acres, and we put their Farmington house up, and they need a lot of occupancy because the sellers of the Milford home are building a home. I don't know the exact details, but they want occupancy in their Farmington home until mid-October. And some agents are kind of balking at that. But as a lender, you can't close on a home and go outside of, is it 90 days?
60 days.
60 days. So we're kind of cutting it close, but you're right. That domino effect of I have to sell my home first before I can.
Well, you could pull it off, right? So if you close in August, right, your first payment wouldn't be due until October, and then you have 60 days, to, take that occupancy during that time, right? So if you close in August, that gives you that 60 days. So it's all about the timing, right? And
Right, it's
and
already the end. Yeah, don't say the end of
July's
summer.
over. Well, no, July is
over, yeah.
This year's went by so fast, so it's crazy. But you have to be looking down the road. You have to be planning, right? And then at the same time, if people are getting in and out of houses, like, oh, I don't want to have 2 house payments. Okay, well, don't worry. You have 60 days. If we're closing beginning of August or middle of August, you don't have a payment in August or September. First would be October, and that's going to be right in line. So you only have 1 payment during those times. So, and even with renting, with apartments, right? Sometimes you're getting out of that apartment a little bit sooner, and you don't want to buy yourself out of that lease, so you could just continue to pay that rent, be done with it. But then the ultimate goal for everybody, if they're so inclined, is home ownership, right?
Absolutely.
You want to park the car in your own driveway versus somebody else's, and
Right.
stop paying someone else's rent. and divorce rent, right? If you can, and then build your own real estate portfolio. But it comes with a game plan, and you have to know where you're at. You have to know where your credit's at. And a lot of people wait to the last minute. They fall in love with that house. And those days, and I want you guys to speak on that, the days of falling in love with the house first and then getting in contact with the lender.
Bad
never
idea. You can't do that anymore.
boy.
Never
You
do
just
that.
can't. Yeah.
How do we get a buyer ready? Here's what we do. We have them call Becky or Harvey. Get your pre-approval. Everything is tied.
Be ready to go.
that. If
Got
you
it.
I will not show a house unless you are pre-approved or you show me your bank statement and that's enough to cover the whole house. I won't do
Juliet
it.
and I were talking about it. You got to be ready to go. So
Yes.
if you got to call grandma and grandpa and tell them they got to watch the kids a little more often or something like that so that you can get out there and see that house the minute it comes on the market, it's important. You can't sit. Because the good ones are going.
Totally. In
We
the
still
last
have
few
extremely
years.
low inventory.
Right. Keep going. Talk.
So it's still tough. I mean, you're still going to probably going to be in multiple offer situations. You might want to be prepared to make multiple offers on multiple homes. Stop falling in love, fall in like, and let's get the house.
I like that. The housing
Yeah.
market
You know?
definitely in the last 3
Well, it's
years.
so emotional.
Yeah.
It's emotional.
It is.
Because once you visualize yourself in that house, it is it.
Right.
And it's been fast sales, very few options. So many people on the marketplace since the pandemic, which seems like we're starting to go back to pre-pandemic. Maybe more.
Right, our
like a
inventory is back up a little bit for
They're
the
sitting a
first time
little-
since like 2020. We're back to like that level of inventory right now, but it's still really
Houses
low.
are sitting a little here in July.
They
July
are.
was a funky
They
month.
Just a
are.
tiny
It's
bit,
funky.
though.
Things
Just
are
a
funky.
tiny
It
bit.
is weird.
It's a funky time.
All right. The music says we're up against our third break. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Show, Brought to you by Capital Mortgage Fund. You could reach us at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. I'm Harvey Freed. She's Becky Alley. And call the studio at 248-539-9797. Taking all your calls here live in the studio. Juliet Jozwick joins us from Max Broock, that Long Lake Telegraph office. And, of course, Marcy Soufrine joins us from 5 Star Real Estate. And you guys are awesome. Lots of years experience. When I first met Juliet and told her I was a mortgage person, she wanted to tell me that she's the original who sold all those lofts in Detroit in 1989. It was you, my darling.
Yes,
it was you.
I'm
the original
proud
loft
to
queen.
say.
Yes, you were the original loft queen of Detroit.
Right. And Juliet provided me a stat this morning about Detroit increasing its population.
For the first time since 1957, the latest census.
Right.
Canfield Lofts, I do have to do a shout out. It was 32 units, and we overlooked the Motor City Brewery. And when I was selling down there, the locally brewed beer had a higher alcohol content. Well, my little chestnut naive Bud Light drinking body didn't know that, so I'd be too deep into a microbrew, and I thought, what's going on? Everybody looks so good, and I can dance and I can sing, and
Giving away condos.
yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, shout out to my Detroit peeps and Motor City Brewery and Canfield Lofts.
Oh my God,
And
Julia!
speaking of Detroit, right?
ahead.
So I want to talk about the program. They've announced that they have 25,000 again up for grabs in the city of Detroit. So if you live in Detroit for the last 12 months and you're buying in the city of Detroit, you can get up to $25,000, and you can piggyback that with the MIJDA program, so you can get up to $35,000 or take a lower interest rate. Yeah, so this is life-changing money, and it's all about revitalizing Detroit. And people think that, like, oh, Detroit, like in my mind, Detroit never left, right? And same as yours, right? But it's beautiful when you're in Corktown. You see those beautiful new condos and lofts and all the things that are happening. So there is money that out here to help people change their life. You just have to get in contact with us any day, Monday through Friday, Saturday through Sunday. We are here to help you, to make sure if there's money out here that you qualify for, we're going to help you achieve that.
I'll piggyback on that a little. You said it quickly, Becky. The MIJDA program, if you don't take the down payment assistance at the 6.625, 6 and 5/8, which is great. If you don't want the 10,000, take the 25,000 from Detroit.
Get the 6%.
Do the MIJDA 6%, right? So you can get a 6% 30-year fixed rate, guys. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Then you didn't take the MIJDA money, and you don't have to pay it back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's lots
anyone
of
that's not aware
opportunities.
of that, obviously, and there's other ways we can shift some money around to get you the maximum compensation. But the one caveat is it has to be your primary residence. And then
Are there any kind of income requirements?
There are income limits
Yes.
for the state of Michigan. The MIJDA program are higher, but if you're trying to also piggyback with the Detroit grant of 25,000, those are kind of like the low to moderate income. So if you're a single household, you can't be over 54,000. But if you have, depending on who's living in the house, it increases, right? So you have to have the conversation so we can see where is the money that we can get you qualified for, and what is going to be the best way that we can flip these programs around and also marry a few programs together to maximize the cash that could be in your pocket, because you could put 20% down on a brand new home that is yours now, and you can take the other money that you're going to use and use it to renovate it or fix it or whatever it is that you're going to do. So give us a call, have a conversation.
A lot of great opportunities out there.
I love that.
You guys
Right.
know about.
They're not working with a lot of money here. So I love that what Becky just said too. So you can use the program to buy the house, the closing costs, it covers your escrow, your homeowner's insurance. And then all that money that you'd saved up, you use that to your own personal, redo the kitchen, redo the bathroom, redo the floors, and all these fancy things. So again, get more smarter people who've done this a long time. A lot of people are patting themselves on the back in the mortgage business lately, and I'm going to tell you, it's the old school stuff. Learn what's out there, deal with real professionals, people that are willing to step in front and say, look, this is a really great opportunity for you, and point it out and show you how home ownership could really benefit you.
Yeah, there's a lot of, sometimes we are like the second and third call, or there's like a deal on the table and it's falling apart. And I'm proud that we might not be your first call, unfortunately, but we're the last call.
Right.
And, we're able to identify Harvey is the best. He cares. He wears his heart on his sleeve. And when we're looking at some of these transactions or people come to us to fix it, sometimes it's a problem somewhere else. We're like, no, because they don't see it the way that we see it, because we're old school lending. We're kind of like a dying breed out here in the lending industry. So we're able to identify what you can do, what you can't do, another way you can flip it. And then the fact that we have access to every program out there. I mean, we can do new construction, home equity lines of credit. We have access to all the grant programs. We have exclusive programs that you can't get anywhere else. And so it allows us to be a little bit of a titan in the industry when people are struggling with the affordability changes.
And you can get a mortgage online, sure, but you want somebody like Becky or Harvey to talk to, and you guys are going to ask the questions, and they're going to give you the responses, and you can offer $25,000 is a huge chunk of money, and you guys are always up to speed on every single program out there. That's a game changer.
Yeah.
And it's a Wayne County program. So we got the Detroit 125, and then Becky, all the other cities, there's several other cities that are about at 14,000. There's some money out there. I'm not going to name them all. Call Capital Mortgage Funding. Get in touch with Becky or Harvey. We'll set you up with all that great information. Here live in the studio, we got some time left to take your call. 248-539-9797. Always excited to have great agents on, and you guys are fantastic. We talked about Marcy's great canal listing, just over 500,000, but it's a flip. It was completely renovated. It's a real winner. And you've got a listing too, Juliet. Are we going to talk about?
I'd like to talk about a couple.
Let's see what else we got. Go.
Well, one of them it went live on Wednesday, and I've had so many offers. It's absolutely insane. When people are offering, I think they really need to understand that an appraisal gap guarantee is, if you're in the 150 to 350 market, that's absolutely something that you should consider. I'm working on
if you got the money.
If you can, yes.
Now that one's in Farmington Hills, you were telling me?
Yes.
So what is it? How many square feet?
About 1,600, has a full basement, not a walkout.
Yep.
And 4 bedrooms, a great open floor plan like we talked about. And these people do have, listen, pride in ownership is
a big deal.
A big deal.
Huge deal.
And a nice way to say this house is a dump is a realtor says, well, there's deferred maintenance on it. And that means
needs a trip to the beauty shop.
It means that there are 2-foot high trees growing out of your gutters.
Yeah, that's not good.
Right.
Yeah, like just trip hazards, peeling paint. Like, hey, if you don't have the money, at least you have the time, and those are simple fixes.
Well, cleaning. To me, like cleanliness is next to godliness. Like,
yes,
just get your sponge, get your Brillo pad, and get this thing going.
Smell is the number. Is the first. We've got the 5 senses. That's the first thing that hits your face when you walk in that front door.
Yeah.
I
Don't you just love it when the place smells like a dirty diaper?
That is not appealing at all. How about when you're
why does every room smell like poop? I don't understand.
How better yet, how do listening agents list? How do you get that house on the marketplace without look, guys, hey, we got to do some stuff here. We got to clean this up a little bit. What if I brought I got to freshen up your house in a nice way. Paint can help. It start with the paint and getting rid of that old moldy carpet. It's usually the carpet.
Stop smoking in your house.
Yeah, don't do that.
You know what? Treat yourself. Get a deep cleaning. Get 2 or 3
But
people to spend 8 hours in your house.
They're not like that.
Well, it's not an apple pie.
Some smells are like people's cooking.
You guys, I'm not ending the show on smells and everything, but that's okay. You guys, we'll get off of that one. But
we digress.
I like where you guys went before because listen to this. All right. So here's the deal.
Okay.
We say things here and it triggers sometimes. People hear half the story, and some of the sports announcers here will say, "You didn't. That's not what I said." Anyways, here's what came across. We got a ticket test. It says, "What is the most?" So you won't show a house unless there's enough in the bank account to cover the whole house. That seems ridiculous, is the text.
Yes.
Well, that's not what we said. What we said is this, Becky, and talk about cash offers in this little text.
So if you are making a cash offer, which means you're choosing not to use financing and you're trying to buy a $100,000 house, the agent has every right for you to show me the money.
That's right.
Honey, because if you're making a cash offer, where's it coming from? It doesn't have to be liquid. It could be coming from a retirement account, and you have that in your timeline contingency of, I need to pull from my 401k or my whatever, part of your portfolio. But yes, if you're making a cash offer, you do need to verify where those funds are. Any seasoned listing agent is going to require that, and a really good buyer's agent is knowing if you're a cash buyer, they're going to make sure they're walking around with that golden ticket. But the same thing goes for financing.
Right.
If you are required to put $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, any lender worth their salt is going to say, show me the bank statements. I need to see where this money's coming from. Or is it a gift? Or is it your 401k? We have to know so we can draw the straight line to where you're going.
Especially with the over asking. And you ladies see that all the time. It's over asking. Look, folks, there's going to be multiple bids. Anything like 400 to 500 that's in moving condition and our gems, there's going to be multiple offers. Someone's going to be willing to spend 40 to 70,000 over. An agent might ask you for a bank statement you can cross off off your account number.
Absolutely.
You can leave your name on there. You don't have to show everything.
Listen, you can send me 10 bank statements. I don't care as long as it adds up to what you're paying for the home. But if you send me an offer with no pre-approval and or no proof of funds, I mean, basically it's just a piece of paper to me.
We call every listing agent, and that's how I communicate with any of the agents who I'm working with, the buyer's agents on the sell side. I say immediately, who's the listing agent? Just send me your contact, and we just say, give the extra confidence. This client is ready to close in 30 days. I got one the other day. I got to close it in 20 days. So
I love that.
We've got to get things in perspective. You just want to make sure, as you guys are representing the sellers, that everything falls into place and that we don't have any issues with it. No one wants
absolutely. And
the
you know what I love
transactions.
as a listing agent is when the mortgage guy calls me.
Absolutely.
I know you've
Thank
called
you.
when you sent over an offer. It makes me feel like, okay, this buyer has somebody on their team who's looking out for them, who wants to get things done. And that's what I want. I don't want the offer with no proof of funds, or no lender, or I try to call the lender and they don't call you back.
That's ridiculous.
Right, like I want to know that people have good people on their team and they're ready to get this done. They've been looking, they're on it, they're,
Well, at the same time, too, our efficiency is contingent upon everyone else's efficiency, too. And if our
Absolutely.
buyer's not giving us the things, and we can say, don't do this and don't do that. Like, don't open up debt. Don't file your taxes if I'm working it with a tax extension, right? There's so many things that buyers just don't know. And even when you tell them don't do these things, they
still
inadvertently do it because they're like,
Right.
oh, I just didn't understand what you were saying.
They
right?
go
So
open
then-
up a new line of credit
Yes,
and buy
and then-
themselves a tractor lawnmower or something.
You know
Yes,
what?
and
I was
so-
just thinking that. Don't buy the lawn